Alright, what's going on, guys? So this is kind of like a follow-up video, I guess, to the entire John Swan dream thing that kind of has been unfolding over the last few days or whatever, and I know I'm probably going to hear about the gameplay choice, but I did a poll, both on Twitter and on YouTube last night, and both were overwhelmingly in favor of me trying out some Roblox Arsenal gameplay. I don't know why you guys in particular thought that was like, I don't know, a game to pick or whatever, but I thought it'd be a cool idea. It was suggested to me, and you guys seem to, I guess, like the concept, so here it is. But a lot of stuff has happened in this entire Dream versus John Swan, I guess, debacle that's unfolded, and this has all mostly happened today. This situation has completely popped off. I mean, if it wasn't already boiling over when we made that first video, at this point, this is like one of the big dramas of the year, pretty much guaranteed. The whole commentary community is buzzing right now with all kinds of different thoughts and whatnot on the subject. There was supposed to be a drama alert debate between John Swan and Dream. Dream just went live on Twitch. It ended up breaking over 300,000 people, at least at one point that I saw. Which is an insane amount of people. I mean, for anything, right? Of all things to kind of, I guess, talk about this situation, I guess, with a commentary YouTuber that your audience probably isn't really all too familiar with. And, it was pretty crazy to see those numbers, so this has kind of popped off, right? I would almost argue that this is like the big first commentary drama, I guess, of the year. So Dream did go live to talk about everything, obviously. This was pretty big news even yesterday when it was all starting, but especially after this stream, man, we're definitely seeing this become an even bigger situation now. And I kind of want to talk about the entire thing and just give, I guess, some of my thoughts on it, on Dream's response to everything, on the commentary community's response back, pretty much everything that's going on here. So I clipped a little bit of what was going on over there because I was watching alongside live, and I kind of just want to react to some of the points, I guess, that Dream was making, because this stream, he claimed he had receipts, right? He had all this evidence. And I kind of just want to break it down a little bit and talk about it, at least from my perspective. I will say beforehand, I have actually, worked with John Swan in the past. I've talked to him in the past. This isn't something that from like my perspective of knowing him, something that I thought he would do. I feel like I'm somewhat open-minded to the idea of him doing it. I mean, if there was like concrete evidence that he could like definitively prove, I mean, my mind would have been switched on this, but there is evidence here that I want to go over. I don't feel like it was as concrete as it should have been to, I guess, even really go live with this or even talk about it in any degree, but let's go ahead and take a look.
I would like to underline something. Discord. I did not mention Discord. Okay, I definitely didn't send any of those, unless the person who told you that is delusional. Kind of weird. Apologies, man. They will be duly lectured.
So while I couldn't clip the entire context of what he was saying here, because honestly, he was kind of developing this whole thing pretty slowly. I mean, he would make points for minutes at a time, and on Twitch, you can only clip 60 seconds at a time. So through these DMs, he starts to show, I guess, some of the proof of him and John Swan's interactions, or what was supposed to, I guess, be this 12-year-old and whatnot. And this is, I guess, how this whole situation first started out. These are his DMs with John Swan and whatever here. Now, one of his big points was that John Swan, without any prior mentioning of it, brought up the fact that he hadn't been on Discord in a couple of days. Now, from my interpretation, Dream's big point here is that John kind of told on himself a little bit, right? Because, Dream's like, oh, I'm getting these weird messages and whatnot, right? Saying that somebody's impersonating me, saying all this crazy stuff, there's all these things going on and whatever. And then just kind of out of the blue or whatever, John Swan's like, oh, well, I haven't been on Discord in a couple of days. It couldn't have been me, right? I mean, obviously, because why would John Swan randomly bring that up? John Swan's defense for this, supposedly, is the fact that he apparently uses Discord primarily to message people. I guess he wasn't too huge into using Twitter DMs or whatever the situation was. So I guess that's kind of both sides of that piece of evidence.
He said, things not working out with LT Cobra. For context, LT Cobra is a friend of Harley's that John Swan knew about, and was a prior relationship knowing that Harley was having issues with LT Cobra.
Okay, so I guess his point here, once again, this is all from my interpretation of it here, is the fact that this is apparently the 12-year-old that hacked John Swan as a family friend or whatever, sending these messages to Harley. Now, at that point, right, I guess he ended up mentioning Lieutenant Cobra, which is another YouTuber that I guess John Swan has some sort of friendship with or, knows about in some way. I don't know their relationship personally, but I guess his point here is that John Swan is the one who knows Lieutenant Cobra, I guess not this 12-year-old. Why would this 12-year-old bring up Lieutenant Cobra, which is somebody that he hypothetically shouldn't know about? And, when John Swan knows this person, I guess he's trying to potentially make the connection that since this person knew about it, that it should have been John Swan sending the messages and not some 12-year-old kid. Once again, I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, it does look a little skewed against John Swan to my personal, I guess, belief. But when it really comes down to it, I think that, possibly the kid scrolled up and saw messages about Lieutenant Cobra. A lot of things could have happened. They read through messages. I feel like there's a lot of possibilities with that one. I don't think that that's concrete once again. I feel like these are more or less circumstantial at best.
Yup. Keep that in mind. Now, what would you say? Would you say yes, yep? Would you say yup? Maybe. Keep that in mind. Keep in mind, yup. Let's do a language analysis. I have never, as far as I know, said yup in my entire life.
Okay, so this is one of the main pieces of evidence, I guess, that he used against John here, and honestly, I don't really understand why, necessarily. So I guess the point was, and this is a point that he made, actually with another word here in a second, it's like a vernacular thing, where he's essentially making the claim that, a 12-year-old doesn't talk like this. And it's weird word usage, right? Okay, so basically trying once again to make the point that the vernacular doesn't line up for it being a 12-year-old. It should have been John Swan talking like that type of thing. I don't know about you guys, but I've heard yup be used a lot, okay? I've heard that word plenty. And I don't know how much it's used, I guess, internationally or anything like that. If you don't know, John Swan lives in Australia. I don't. I live on the other side of the planet, so I'm not sure how, I guess, important it is internationally or anything, but I think that, once again, not really concrete proof that this is John Swan. Anyone can use a word at any time. It doesn't really matter your age, you know what I'm saying? And 12 years old, to be fair, isn't young enough that I feel like they can't develop any sort of language skills. I've spoken with some pretty intelligent 12-year-olds, even myself when I was 12. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I was speaking like some sort of Harvard professor or anything. But a lot of the time, especially texting or typing in computers on the internet or whatever, right? It wasn't really that hard to talk, you know what I'm saying? And if you know, it's a 3-letter word, right? It's not something crazy. I feel like, once again, very circumstantial. If you want to believe that John Swan's the only person who would say this, of course you're going to take this as concrete evidence, but
he said any spams uploads with duplicate content against YouTube's terms of service. That is a smart 12-year-old.
So I guess in this point here, he's essentially saying that how would a 12-year-old child know this deep into the YouTube terms of service, right? And I'll say, I had a YouTube channel at 12, so I think I can actually make a pretty fair point for this one. I didn't know the YouTube terms of service, I'll be honest, right? At the age of 12, I feel like knowing YouTube's TOS, especially weird specific points about duplicate copies of content, whatever, definitely a little weird. But once again, I don't feel like it's impossible, especially now. Once again, I was 12 almost a decade ago, so the internet wasn't even the same type of place, and I feel like nowadays kids are probably more inclined to know these kinds of things than maybe I was at 12, but I will say once again, quite weird that a 12-year-old would supposedly know about this very random specific rule of the YouTube's terms of service. But I just don't think that it's concrete enough to pin John Swan. Even when you add it in with these other pieces, oh, he said yup. Oh, he mentioned Lieutenant Cobra, the YouTuber. He mentioned, the YouTube terms of service. It just doesn't add up, I think, to a concrete point, I think circumstantially you can try to connect the dots, but other than that, man, I have a little bit of trouble being able to say for certain that this is something that John Swan was behind. Is it possible? Of course. Is it likely? I'm not totally sure, but this just seems, I guess, circumstantial at best, too. Up until this point, man, I feel like nothing fully concrete has come. If he had some sort of proof that, for certain it was John Swan, and it didn't rely, I think, on, all of these circumstantial points kind of building up to, I guess, try to make the total case, I feel like in that instance, maybe this would have, I guess, been a better expose of John Swan, but up until now, it's just super, it's super based on, I feel like you have to believe that John Swan fully did it beforehand to even really connect these dots. Because I've tried to go at this as impartially as I can, right? Because obviously I know John Swan, I don't know Dream, but I don't want to just say outright, oh, John Swan didn't do it, not knowing for sure, right? I don't believe that that's something he'd do for my interactions with him, but that doesn't mean that I know him as a person, if that makes any sense. So I don't know, as someone in that position, it feels hard to for certain say, oh yeah, I believe that, John Swan did this. Keemstar came out and announced that there was supposed to be a debate/interview between both Dream and John Swan on Drama Alert. It was supposed to happen pretty much as we're speaking. or at least as I'm recording this part of the audio and everything here. However, unfortunately, Keemstar, just a few minutes ago, came out and said that John Swan has bitched out of the debate with Dream. Now, I have to say, of course, from the public eye here, this doesn't look good for John Swan, right? I mean, obviously, you're given a platform, honestly, as big as Drama Alert. I mean, let's be honest, it's a massive platform, whether you like Keemstar or not. You're given an opportunity to go on there and supposedly defend yourself. Keemstar appears to be siding with Dream already, from what he's tweeted and stuff like that, which kind of led to a lot of concerns that maybe he and Dream were going to kind of like rig this interview or something like that. Now, I'm under the personal belief that John Swan should have went on regardless. I mean, let's say, people are saying it's a lose-lose situation, to kind of break this down, right? Because if John Swan goes on there, he makes like a really great point or whatever, you know, he clears his name somehow, just like miraculously defends himself. There's still going to be the Dream stands, however many of them that there are, that hate John Swan, and they're going to harass him, and they're going to flood his comments with hate and stuff like that. So he's still going to get a bunch of hate, even if he's right and makes a good point. Or he can go on there and get, you know, I guess ganged up on by Keemstar and Dream if they really were to like kind of rig this together. But I really don't think it's fully a lose-lose situation, because if you go on there and make a great point and clear your name, you've cleared your name, right? Like, you've defended yourself. The only people who are going to doubt you now, hypothetically, would be those Dream stands. But then, of course, if you go on there and I guess it's, you know, backed up against you, you're backed against the wall by these two, you still have gotten the signal boost of going on Drama Alert. You've still gotten your side of the story out there to probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And even if you're going to be in the same boat that you would have been with the other option, at least you still went on there, right? At least you still got your side of the story out or whatever. Now, John Swan actually, because I tweeted about this, and I tweeted that I didn't think it was a good idea for him to not go on Drama Alert, and he DM'd me. John Swan said, just to provide some context, Keem gave me 10 minutes to prepare for the interview with Dream. I had no idea that Dream was going to stream it, and it's literally 6 a.m. and I'm running on no sleep, so yeah, I'm not going on to Drama Alert, LMAO. I said, am I free to share these DMs in my video? He said, yes, go ahead. I'm staying off Twitter for a while to avoid the stands. I said, okay, appreciate it, and have a good night. Obviously, he lives on the other side of the planet. It's, I guess, 6 a.m. or whatever over there. It's the afternoon here. So that was his reasoning, I guess, for not going on to Drama Alert. I still personally disagree with him not going on there. But, I mean, to be fair, I guess if you didn't know that Dream was going to stream, which I also didn't know that Dream was going to, or was planning to stream this entire thing here either. So even then, I think it might have still been the best choice possible to go. I mean, if that's the choice he wants to make, that's up to him, right? I mean, I'm not fucking John Swan. I don't care, right? So, and as of right now, that's where it all kind of settles. Honestly, I don't think there's going to be enough to make another follow-up video to this. I think this is kind of the end of the road here for me when it comes down to this story. I think the Dream stream would have been a lot better if maybe he planned it out a little bit. I mean, he gathered all of his screenshots and everything, but I think if he actually kind of like openly prepared maybe like some sort of dialogue for it, and he provided some evidence that was actually like fully concrete that can like hold its own weight standing alone instead of having to be built together like a Lego set, this would have went a lot better for him. Obviously, there's some things that make John look a little bit questionable with this entire thing, but at the end of the day, are we really ever gonna fucking know? Like, are we ever really gonna know how this situation unfolds? You know, are we ever gonna know the full backstory? Probably not. Because obviously somebody in the situation's lying, right? Somebody's making something up. Either, you know, John Swan really did it and he's been lying this whole time that he got hacked, or Dream is building this case not knowing that John Swan was actually truly innocent. So something's going on, right? We're probably never going to know the answer. Honestly, this is, I would say, a little bit of a dead-end drama, unless something crazy happens. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. Thank you guys for being channel members. I always mess this up for some reason. Thank you guys who are channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, watching it all unfold and signing out. You've seen cool stuff in your life before, but you've never seen cool shit like this. Introducing Horser. Are we sure what it is? Not really, but is it interesting? Absolutely. Optimus, what do all these luxury cars and videos of horses and nature have to do with Horser? They're specially crafted in that order to make you want to buy shit. To make you think to yourself, oh, this Horser brand represents luxury and wealth and nature, and I need that. So fulfill the advertisement's role and go buy it. Horser, keep it on you, or some shit like that.